We have a great session on loyalty. We have some serious horsepower on this panel with experience and expertise in loyalty, from loyalty programs, loyalty cards, loyalty from brand values. So you're all in a great, you're in for a treat with this discussion. We have Jon Mandell, who is going to be moderating it. Derek, who is most recently the CMO at J.Crew. Nadina, Chief Customer Officer at The Vitamin Shop. We have Angela from Patagonia and Jessica at Victoria's Secret. So thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for sitting in on this one. Really excited about not only this topic, but this amazing panel of marketers that we've got here and the discussion we're gonna have. So with that, I figured we just jump right in and really just start with the thing that probably comes first is strategy and really understanding what does loyalty mean to you at your company and kind of the lens of which you see it through. So Derek, you're next to me. I'll let you kick that one off.
Sure. Yeah, I was most recently the CMO at J.Crew and Madewell. I left in January. But I definitely think of loyalty in the broadest possible sense. For me, a loyalty program is really just a subset of a larger customer love strategy, and really can serve as the foundation of a customer experience and really that red thread. So for example, at J.Crew, we took the program from this J.Crew rewards program to J.Crew Passport, really kind of giving it broader purpose, and letting it serve as, literally access to the brand and the world of the brand. And I would just say, I think one other, the obvious example that does that really well is Starbucks, where they have, yes, a loyalty program, there's the stars that you earn, but the program is really about the entire experience and the app, mobile ordering, and they're all kind of one and the same. So that's really my framework, is access.
Great, thanks. Jessica, if you want to share as well.
Sure. Yeah, from a Victoria's Secret perspective, we think about loyalty as really creating a community. We really pushed ourselves to try to get beyond just sort of points and rewards, and we asked our customers what they wanted before we launched. We actually had a credit card for about 30 years, but we had never had a multi-tender loyalty program until a year ago. And so we said, look, let's really focus on the customer, ask her what she wants, what is she getting from other experiences that she'd like to see from us. And we have a very, very passionate audience of customers, and we had so many that were already in the credit card program that were sort of automatically enrolled into our multi-tender loyalty program. So we had a really rich base on which to draw. And she told us that she did want the points and the rewards, but she also wanted soft benefits as well, and she wanted experiences and exclusive access and exclusive product. And so we've really been sort of testing that and working on that over the last year and getting a lot of learnings from her and getting her feedback, and she's quite satisfied, but she's also telling us what she wants to see more of, which is she wants exclusive products for sure, exclusive experiences. She wants exclusive access to things like the fashion show, which is coming back in the fall. And so, yeah, that's really, we really think about it as a community. And we also, another thing that we're really proud of and that she's really gravitated towards is we have an exclusive community in the app for members, and she really engages with us there. She takes our bra fit quiz. She tells us when her birthday is. She gets points for downloading the app and doing all sorts of things. So that has really been a great way to connect with her.
That's great. It's been great to see a lot of the innovation that's happening at Victoria's Secret and other places. Nadina, I'd love to just hear from you on just some examples of things that either you've recently launched or getting really excited to launch based on kind of what you're hearing from your customers, as Jessica shared.
Yeah, we really see loyalty as an opportunity to have a value exchange with our customer, where they're giving us information and we're giving them distinct value. Because obviously our customers aren't necessarily coming to us because we have a loyalty program. It's because we have great services, we have great products, And then there's this value opportunity where we can unlock information, and it's basically data. It's a data share. They're giving us our data so we can communicate with them better. So we really looked at it, how do we continue to enhance that value exchange? We launched a award center about a year ago where we started to award our customers for behaviors, much like Victoria's Secret, whether it's downloading an app, answering quizzes, giving us their exact birthdays, participating, maybe going to our social site, and other things. So enhancing that value exchange, and they would get other things back. We also have deepened our nutritionist program. So if you're a Healthy Awards customer, which is our loyalty program, you get free nutritional consultation from us, which is an incredible value. It's expensive to do, you get a couple sessions, and it ties back to the offerings that we have as a business. And as we continue to enhance our program, we're really looking at the app as our center, because having an app on your phone, as we all know, you choose only a few brands to have on your phone, and then the expectation is that that app reveals a lot of information, not just products, but also that connection with your loyalty program. So now we're looking at the app as how do we continue to enhance that value to our customers within the app for this product that we have and our brand logo that we have on someone's phone in order to deepen the relationship, unlock offers, opportunities, and even make it a little bit distinct maybe from other places where we transact with a customer.
Great.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think in this era of post-cookie, loyalty program for sure can serve as a mechanism for a first-party data strategy. So I totally agree with that. One thing I think I find really exciting that some brands are doing is really trying to tie to the physical world more. So I think some of the access to events and some of that in-person ideas that can really amplify fandom, I think is really, really great. And also tying into the services in the physical world. So using your program as access to unlocking services or special services, self-service, I think those things can be really powerful, that idea of convenience and access.
Great. You mentioned a word there, fandom. A lot of times, I know I'm asked, I'm sure you guys are as well, talking about benchmarking loyalty and how do you know if you've got a good program and is it really working for you, et cetera. And obviously there's a lot of financial metrics behind that, but I've always felt that that your program or your loyalty that someone has to your brand is working when it becomes part of their identity. And Angela's here from Patagonia, and I can't think of a better brand to talk about kind of living its purpose and wrapping their customers up in their entire identity and vice versa. So just love to hear from you on how you guys view that as being maybe one of the brands that's been living purpose before it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Patagonia has been living that purpose from the day it was founded over 50 years ago. And I think the reason why it resonates so much is that it's not something that's made up, right? Like it's not sending a writer and a photographer out to capture the moment. A lot of the things that you see, the stories you hear, we're part of that community. We have activists employed in our organization. It starts with our culture of the brand. And those activists are in the trenches a lot of times. And so they've been living that experience. And so when there's a moment of celebration of like freeing the last wild river in Europe, the CEO was part there campaigning with lobbyists and the government. And so when we capture and we tell that story, it's really authentic. And I think it really comes through to the customer. And so I think that's kind of one of our brand differentiators, but then it also goes back to our products. And I think, we don't have an official loyalty program yet, but our product is the loyalty because it's a product that's built to last for generations. I can't tell you how many times people are like, you work for Patagonia? I've had this for 25 years. Or I gave it to my daughter and now she's hiking such and such. And that kind of resonates and we kind of build on that. So I think that's one of the things that, you kind of can't fake that. And I think when it's part of your DNA, you make decisions that might feel irrational or illogical to your competitors, but when you've made that commitment, you have to put the money behind it. You might have cost centers that other people don't have, and to me that's been really exciting, because one of the teams I manage is an activism team for the digital expression of that, and it is a cost center for us, but it's built into our structure, so we might not be as profitable, but the mission is so important to what we do that I think that resonates, and again, the value goes, our loyalty goes beyond just the product, so it's also the lifestyle and the commitments that we've made to fighting climate change.
It's really great, and it for sure comes through. As you said, you guys don't have an official loyalty program yet, but certainly have earned that program, have earned that loyalty. Yeah. When we look at programs, though, right, it's the idea of what everyone's kind of been talking about here is access and benefits and kind of the emotion that people have. And there's obviously been a long-going shift away from these transactional-based programs, right, to the more emotional ones. We know that a transactional program will create a transactional relationship, and an emotional one will certainly create an emotional relationship, but the data is pretty clear that it increases loyalty and spend and LTV, et cetera. And part of that emotional, what we see time and time again, is that idea of access and VIP and going way beyond a discount and really helping you live the brand. Nadina, you guys have a tiered program, and at some of the higher tiers, I think it was a gold, certainly if not one of the other ones, where you start unlocking that access. So we'd love to hear more about how you guys design that access, where it came from, and I think people would be interested to know how do we view the cost of things like access and these VIP experiences outside of the traditional kind of earn and burn currency.
Yeah. So you sound like a shopper, so I love that you know our tiers. Thank you. Absolutely. So when we launched, and we relaunched our program in 2019, and we took a long time to really think through what kind of program we wanted to design, how many tiers it should be, how many points you earn per tier, and then what the benefits were for every tier. And before we launched it, we piloted, which if you're planning to launch a loyalty program or relaunch, give it a little pilot. It's a really great way to assess, are all your assumptions working? We took a couple DMAs, doubled down, and got the results we were hoping for, which is, of course, increased redemptions, improved lifetime value, all the things that you want to see from your loyalty program were delivered. But as part of that unlock for our customers, if you're a gold customer, for example, you get VIP events. So we were talking about experiential events. So you're invited to events at different times of the year where you will get certain discounts at your tier. You'll have, sometimes even our third-party brands will bring in an ambassador or somebody notable that you might be curious to meet, or some education. There'll be opportunities to win things. Sometimes we do like mocktails or fun music. We really try to make it an experience that's only accessible for that tier. And we do want to make sure, though, that other tiers are aware that this is something they're missing out on. So we expose, that these events are happening to other tiers. Sometimes we invite other tiers to the events to kind of bring them up the level so they can feel what it means. And during the event, you can also shop and get certain discounts that you might not otherwise get. Sometimes you do get early access to certain promotions or things like that. So all of these aspects of our program were designed very specifically. We are, though, always testing. So we're always looking at what else can we bring to the table for our customers, whether it's you're getting something on a Monday and it's this and that, or it might be, we're going to do something very specific for you for a whole week and really shout our program. One of the things about loyalty programs we've noticed is it does sometimes fall in the background to the customer. You have to consistently remind the customer that you're here, that this is your program, that this is where your points are. You cannot just let it sort of happen. So we even in our emails, you get your email, you'll have what we call a shoebox, which very crisply tells you you're gold, this is how many points you have, this is when you can get your next voucher or whatever it might be. So we do a lot of things to expose the program and continue to talk about the value and opportunity. Other things, as I mentioned earlier, is the nutritionist offering that we have. You know, we're a supplement sports company, and nutrition and supplementation is really challenging. There's a lot of information. So we do different things to expose that educational guidance to customers based on their tier. So there's a lot of different things that we sort of wrap around. For our lower level customers, so when you're bronze and you're new, so bronze means you're a new customer, and as we know, in retail, being one and done is something that happens, and we don't want that. So through our awards center, what we've done is made getting your awards faster and easier, because for those lower level tiers, getting up to other tier levels is hard because you're probably buying lower cost items, it takes a bit longer. So we've also incorporated into our program, how do we make sure that if you're new, you can gain points faster, because we know, in fact we showed, where you're going to be staying with us, I think 65% more often if we can immediately get you into our awards center and immediately get you to earn some points, you're going to stay that much more, and your basket size is 35% bigger. So those are some of the things that we incorporated, you know, at the bottom and at the top to kind of create that cohesion in our program.
That's great. And I know obviously the customer's at the center of all of that, and kind of all the brands here. You know, as we were prepping for this, Derek, you shared a lot of really great, insightful things when it came to the customer and customer experience. So would love for you to just share a little bit on kind of how you view that. What is the kind of, in your words, the non-negotiables? How do we measure the customer experience when it comes to an ROI?
Yes, the million-dollar question. And I loved the CFO panel yesterday, by the way. I thought that was, you know, for me, extremely valuable. I think that partnership with finance is critical. And loyalty programs are under a lot of scrutiny from a measurement perspective, and I've spent countless hours having discussions on measurement of loyalty programs. You know, ultimately, there's this inherent tension with measurement, short-term and long-term. You know, really, the North Star metric for a loyalty program should be LTV, which is really hard to move the needle on in a short period of time. So when you're really thinking about a major overhaul to a loyalty program or launching a new program, you know, on the ideal scenario is to do longitudinal testing, you know, over 12, 18, 24 months and really try to get it right. But we're all under pressure in the short term to deliver results every quarter. So I think there's this, you can still do a lot of testing, as Nadina mentioned, testing small ideas, iterating, talking to the customer a lot, both qualitative and quantitative, surveying, and really try to understand, you know, what they want. And you use the word currency, and I think my takeaway for today would be to challenge brands to think about currency that they could apply to their businesses that is not discounting. So use that as like your last resort currency, but what things could you offer to your customer? You know, if you're a hotel, you can offer upgrades. You know, if you're you know, a brand like, you know, selling clothes, you can offer early access to special collections. There's all kinds of things that customers can get really excited and engaged on that aren't discounts. Not that that can't be a powerful tool as well, but you have to kind of look in the bigger picture.
Yeah, no, I agree. Discounts are the ones that are easy to measure, but don't have the same, certainly that same impact. You know, just harking back to that customer experience standpoint and making it measurable and core to what we do, and then I want to talk more about how we sell that internally, which is always a struggle. But you know, Jessica, how have you seen kind of that customer experience, and how do you guys measure it to make sure you're, you know, kind of heading in the direction, especially as you launch that extension of your program?
Sure. Well, we also piloted for about 6 months before we launched. And then we launched in June, so we just celebrated our first anniversary. And LTV is definitely the metric that we're focused on. We also look at NPS scores to see whether she's recommending us and through the program. So both of those things. And the one thing that that you were mentioning before about access to early access to products. Our customers are telling us they want special products just for them. So that the lead times are quite long on that in our world, and so we're working on that. They're also telling us that they want exclusive gifts with purchase. Victoria's Secret is sort of, really well known and for great gifts with purchase, and so they want very special gifts with purchase from us. So we're working on those sorts of things, and just as you said, really trying to get that quantitative and qualitative feedback on a continuous basis from them.
And obviously, measuring the short term and the long term and what the financial impact is going to be, sometimes tougher than other times to get buy-in, right? Whether it's from our friends on the tech side of the business to build it, or the our finance friends to fund it. And obviously, you guys have had to do that and have done so successfully in expanding the program. But Angela, you guys are building one from scratch. So curious how you've been finding it and where that partnership comes in getting the resources and the buy-in for the investment that we obviously believe will pay back exponentially.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
How's that been?
I think any brand that has substantial marketing dollars that they're spending, I'm looking at that as a layer within that ecosystem. So at the end of the day, every CFO cares about acquisition. Everybody cares about, are we bringing new customers into the brand? And so a lot of times I'm looking at, again, if we're spending X amount of dollars within a year, I'm kind of mapping out the return on investment on building this loyalty program, really thinking again about that lifetime value, which is something that I think internally within my organization, people aren't thinking about it from a numbers perspective, but they're thinking about it in their daily work. And so my job is trying to take what they're thinking about and translate it into this is what this means. And so a lot of times I think for leadership, it paints the picture of what that customer experience is first, that customer journey that we're trying to build, and then how that loyalty program is going to add to that. And so for me, I feel like the selling of it is a little easy because we have a lot of elements already involved. We do repairs for products, we do re-commerce, and we do sporting events in Jackson Hole store, or if we're in Hawaii, we'll do something with the surf community. And so adding all those elements into the loyalty program, I think is what is the ultimate goal for us. And so I think it's kind of layering it back to what's our brand ethos and what are we trying to match? How do we build into that with this loyalty program? How does that add to that? And then be able to measure that over time, much like you said, through customer sentiment and seeing are we making measurable step change. So that's the goal and objective. And like I said, the finance part is always challenging, but I think getting that message across first on how it all connects with the greater good from a long-term perspective, which I'm glad to be at a brand that's not thinking just quarter to quarter, but year to year. So I think that helps us as well.
Yeah, great. At the core of all of these programs is obviously the behavior change that we're looking to create within our customers, but in a way that benefits them just as much, if not more than us. There's so many great brands that are represented, obviously, at this conference. Some that are digital only, some with just brick and mortar. You guys all represent brands that are both. So curious to have you share how those two things come together in your loyalty program, and how much of it is intentional in driving kind of behaviors in both to kind of share everything that you have. So Jessica, start.
I'm sorry, what two things work together?
Oh, sorry, your in-person experience with the loyalty as well as online and where those two come together.
Yeah, so for us that was very important. So Victoria's Secret has 850 stores in the US. So the in-person part of it was really critical for us. But we're really looking to have it be a very cohesive program. We really wanted the customer to be able to understand the program, whether she was talking to somebody in the store, an associate in the store, or whether she was online. And of course, we recognize that you have different needs. So someone in the store can explain the program to you. So it really required that online we had to, very clearly lay it out for her. And we tested that. We made sure that she understood the program, that it was easy to enroll, and easy to understand what her points were, as you were mentioning before. You have to keep reminding them over and over again, sort of where they are on that journey, and and that you have this program and that they should take advantage of it. And we do that both in the store as well as on digital. And then the other thing on digital was just, how could we make the experience of finding the right product for her? And so we have a bra fit quiz on digital, for instance, that she can take to understand what size she is. And so sort of just paving that way, and then making the checkout system or the checkout flow as seamless as possible, and allowing her to apply her points easily, and not, sort of removing some of those barriers was very important to us. But the cohesion is really what it was about, is making sure that when she gets up to the register that she knows how many points she has, and that she can apply them, was one of the big ones technologically that we had to really build in, believe it or not. It was just it was easier to do on digital, but in the stores we, took a bit longer. But yes, really getting that cohesion.
Yeah, we're not perfect for sure. There's still more I would like to do as the digital owner and as the marketer at the Vitamin Shoppe. We are constantly improving. What I'm excited about, though, and we do an omnibus every year, about a year ago, I kind of made it a mandate for my team. I really want to make sure that our website delivers more than just a transaction to our customers. It needs to be an experience. We have to move beyond that transactional element of the site, especially the way consumers are shopping. So we began to infuse a lot more educational information, more ways that customers could interact with the site for the loyalty program. So we often hide Easter eggs. You can get points from the Easter eggs. We created that sort of award center. We put it on the app and onto our site, and then made sure that even in store, there were different parts of the store where there were opportunities to either engage or connect into the award center, making sure that our customers even have a digital account, which is a whole, often they go in, they sign up, and they don't even know where to access their points. So that was part of our mandate. And when we looked at our omnibus results that we just did recently, we saw that our customers love us more than ever. They see the value, that educational value. They understand our program better. So it's always a win. We talk about metrics and kind of the hard KPIs with your customers, the lifetime value, conversion, blah, blah, blah. But when you actually see some of these softer metrics come through in your surveys and your studies for work that you've been doing for a year, it feels so good, because you're on the right track. So that's really I really try to look at the customer as they're going to be anywhere. I can't look at it as web, app, or store. It's everything, the way people are shopping, and how do I continue to make sure that our secret sauce in stores, our health enthusiasts, our sales folks, how do I bring that better into our site? How do I bring the awards program everywhere, in every touch point, and making sure that I'm always reanalyzing that journey. So anyway, I wanted to kind of give accolades to my team for that great win in our study, because that was a huge, yes, we did it.
Oh, that's great. I want to be mindful of this giant red clock at the bottom here. But, as Scott talked about in his opening remarks earlier, the idea of commerce next steps, right? And doing whatever we can to, obviously, hopefully a lot of people are motivated and inspired by what they heard today, but to give people some of those tangible next steps and things they can actually bring back to their team. So kind of open it up to anyone who wants to share something that, kind of people can take with them and maybe start implementing right away.
Yeah, I think, one, what I just said before is think about currency for your brand. That's not discounting, so that challenge. But second, again, going back to the idea of, thinking about loyalty in the broadest sense, really think about how loyalty can map to every stage of the customer journey. So from discovery, consideration, conversion, retention, advocacy, how can loyalty be a mechanism to kind of move the needle on all those things? I think you can really find some nuggets that can delight customers, and that's really, at the end of the day, what it's about, is delight them, and you'll get the lifetime value.
Yeah, I would say one of the things we've been doing is find partners. There are so many brands that are more than happy to share loyalty values with you. And that's something we've been unlocking, again, because, you know, everybody's looking for a way to create value in all parts of your life, and that might not just be with you as a retailer, and it also can give brand exposure to your brand when you're partnering. So partnerships, I would strongly recommend as part of your program.
I was going to kind of go down the path of customer experience as well. I think for a brand that's starting their journey there, like really spending the time to think about the work of like what that ultimate customer experience you want to have before you even start to design what the program elements are going to be, and what is the value we can bring to the customer instead of what can the customer bring to the value of the brand. I think is the place I love to start, and then that kind of starts to paint the picture. And I think a lot of times we just leap right into like how do we solve for it instead of really doing that early work and having those conversations and getting that sort of roadmap in your mind first and like where do we want to take this. So you know, like we were saying, it was like failing the least as possible. So it's an iterative process. I think starting small, maybe if you have a store footprint, start in one store, test it there, start with a subset of your customer if you can test it there, and just kind of learn and iterate before we reveal. So we'll probably have something in work in the background for maybe a solid year before we have something customer facing that's branded and marketed to the consumer. But I think that'll give us the opportunity to really learn. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I think recognizing that it's a journey and that you're going to learn a lot, and we certainly have in just a year's time. And for instance, we started off with a different name than we have today, and we recognized pretty quickly that our name needed to be a bit more straightforward. Otherwise, the customer was kind of like, what is this thing that you're asking me to join? So we changed it, and so just sort of being willing to learn along the way. I think the other thing is the other thing I meant to mention earlier is that our customers are asking for partnerships and collaborations that are exclusive to this community. So that's something that we are exploring and excited to, and we're seeing other brands do that, sort of cross-collaboration, experiential collaborations with like-minded brands. So I think that that's one of the areas that we're excited to explore as well. But it's a journey, and I think just go on it and know that you're going to learn and you're going to need to pivot and keep iterating.
All right. Well, since these Commerce Next Steps are kind of putting everyone on the spot across all these panels, and as Scott said, I'm unfortunately partially responsible for that. So with that, I will share my own as well, and that would be, take a minute to assess what other brands that you admire are doing. I think it's more important to look at ones that are focused on your demo rather than your industry, because as we know, competition is being set well beyond what your direct competitors are doing. And use that to assess and see how you stack up against them. And both of those pieces together can really help you build out a roadmap and kind of compartmentalize the things that you can bring to different parts of your organization, because there's so many great ideas, there's so many places to get started, but that could help as an anchor. So with that, we're out of time, and I just want to thank all of you so much for such a fun conversation today.